still high over the dry fields outside Tombstone, Arizona, and the heat pressed down like a hand that would not let go. Cora Mae Sterling did not scream. She did not beg. She looked up at the man, gray in his beard, hard in his eyes, his hand resting near his gun, and she said in a quiet, broken voice, "If you want to, go ahead." She said it like a woman too tired to fight one more man, and too hurt to believe this one would be any different. She'd said those words before, not out of courage but because fighting had only ever made things worse. Dust hung in the air. A horse shifted behind the fence. Somewhere close, men were watching. Silas Vane did not move the way she expected. He did not reach for her. He did not smile. He pulled off his coat, stepped forward slowly, and laid it over her body, covering what the world had already taken too much of. Then he turned his back on her. That was the first thing that felt wrong. Men like him never turned their backs. Voices rose at the gate. Two riders leaned on the fence, laughing like this was all a game. One of them called out that she still belonged to them. Silas did not answer right away. He walked past the table, past the girl who had already given up, and stopped at the gate. His hand dropped to his revolver, not fast, not nervous, just certain. The taller man swung down from his horse, stepping into the yard like he owned it. He barely got 2 steps in before Silas hit him. No warning, no shouting, just one heavy blow that dropped him into the dirt. The other man backed up quick, eyes wide now, no laughter left. Silas said one thing, low and steady, "She's done with you." They left, but not quietly, not done. Cora lay still under the coat, her eyes wide open now, her breath uneven. She had seen men hurt other men before. She had never seen one stand between her and the world like that, but she still did not trust it, because nothing in her life had ever come without a price. And as the dust settled and the ranch fell quiet again, one question stayed with her. What did a man like Silas Vane really want from a woman who had nothing left to give? Silas Vane did not look back at her for a long moment. He stood by the gate, watching the dust settle where those men had ridden off, but like he was making sure they stayed gone. Only then did he turn. Cora was still lying there, wrapped in his coat, stiff as a board, eyes wide, waiting for the part she already knew too well. It did not come. He walked to the water trough, dipped a cloth, wrung it out slowly, then brought it over and set it on the edge of the table. Not on her, near her. Close enough to reach, far enough not to touch. "You can clean that up yourself," he said, voice low, plain, like he was talking about fixing a fence. No pity, no edge, just a fact. That confused her more than anything. He stepped back again, only giving her space like it mattered. Cora did not move right away. She had learned that kindness could turn fast. She had learned to wait for the price, but the price did not show. A horse snorted behind the fence. Wind pushed dry grass across the yard. Nothing changed. Slowly, she pushed herself up, every muscle aching, and took the cloth. Her hand shook as she pressed it to the cut on her arm. Still no move from him. No staring. No stepping closer. That was new. "You paid them," she said after a while, her voice rough. Silas shrugged once, like it was nothing worth talking about. "They had papers saying you were being held over a debt. I paid it off and burned them. That was not the whole of it, and they both knew it." Cora let out a dry breath. Men did not throw money away on strangers, not unless they wanted something back. She pulled his coat tighter around herself, eyes still on him. "So what do you get?" she asked, quiet, careful. That was the real question. Silas met her gaze this time, steady, not hard, not soft either. "You stay till you can stand," he said. "Then you decide where you go. No smile, no claim, just that." It sounded simple, too simple. Cora almost laughed, but nothing came out, because she had never been given a choice before. Not once. Not when they married her off. Not when they blamed her for the child that never came. Not when they sold her. Not by her husband, not by his mother. Not by the men who counted her like money. And now this man, who could have taken anything, was talking about choice like it was normal. That made no sense, and things that made no sense were dangerous. She looked down at the dirt beneath the table, then back at him. "Men don't do that," she said. Silas leaned against the post, slow and tired in a way that did not show weakness. "Most don't," he said. That answer sat heavy in the air, not defensive, not proud, just true. The sun dipped a little lower. Shadows stretched across the yard. For the first time in a long while, Cora was not being pulled, pushed, or ordered. She was just there, and she did not know what to do with that. So she did the only thing she still knew how to do. She watched him and waited. Because one thing still did not add up. If he did not want her body, and he did not want her money, then why had Silas Vane stepped in at all? And what was he really risking by keeping her on that ranch? The next morning, Silas saddled up before the sun climbed too high. He did not ask Cora if she wanted to go into town. He simply said he had business, and if she stayed alone, those men might come back when he was gone. That was enough. Tombstone was already awake when they rode in. Dust, wagons, men talking too loud, women watching from porches, and the kind of silence that follows right behind a rumor. People saw them. They always did. A man like Silas Vane riding in with a young woman wrapped in his coat was not something folks ignored. Cora felt it before she heard it. Eyes, whispers, judgment. He did not slow down. He rode straight to the general store, tied off his horse, and then helped her down without holding her longer than needed. That part did not go unnoticed either. Inside, a few men turned to look. One of them smirked. Another pretended not to. Silas walked up to the counter, calm as ever, and spoke to the clerk like it was any other day. He said her name clearly, Cora Mae Sterling. He said she was working on his ranch. He said she would be paid fair, and he made the man write it down in the ledger. No big speech, no raised voice, just facts, set in ink where people could not twist them later. That was when the room changed. Not loud, just a shift, because men in that town knew what that meant. He was putting his name on her side of the line. A ranch owner putting a bruised young woman on his payroll in broad daylight was the kind of thing Tombstone would talk about for a long time. Men who would not lift a finger for her the day before were staring now, because Silas had done in public what most men only pretend to believe in private. Outside, words started moving faster than a horse could run. By the time they stepped back into the street, people were already talking. Some shook their heads. Some looked away. A few looked at Silas like he had just made the worst mistake of his life. Cora walked beside him, quiet, but something inside her had shifted. Not trust, not yet, but something close. They had almost reached the horses when a voice cut through the street, rough, drunk, mean. It came from the saloon porch. A man leaned there, grinning like he knew exactly what kind of story to tell about her. He said her name wrong on purpose, then said the kind of thing that makes a whole street go still. Silas stopped. Not fast, not angry, just stopped. Cora felt her chest tighten. She had heard worse, plenty worse, but this time, something was different. Because for the first time, she was not standing there alone. And for the first time, the man beside her didn't walk away. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe and stay with me, and tell me where you're listening from, and what time it is there, because what happened next turned a quiet street into something nobody in Tombstone would forget. Silas did not turn right away. He let the silence stretch just long enough for every man on that street to hear what had been said. Then he stepped toward the saloon porch, slow, steady, the kind of walk that told you he was not there to talk it out. The man on the porch laughed, thinking he had an audience now. He pushed off the post, took a step down, and said something worse. Something about what Cora had been through. Something no decent man would say out loud. And he said it loud enough for everyone to hear. Silas stopped right in front of him. Close enough now. No shouting. No warning. Just one clean punch. The man dropped hard into the dirt, hat rolling off, mouth full of dust. Surprise, no one moved. Not the men by the hitching post, not the ones by the store window. Even the piano inside the saloon went quiet. Silas stood there, looking down at him. Not angry, not proud, just done. Say her name right next time, he said. That was all. He turned his back again, like it was nothing more than swatting a fly. Cora stood frozen for a second. Then she followed, and that was when things shifted for real, because people were not just whispering now. They were watching in a different way. Some with doubt, some with something close to respect, and a few with fear, not of her, of him. They rode out of town without another word, but trouble did not stay behind. It followed. That afternoon, a woman came by the ranch, old, quiet, the kind of woman who saw more than she said. She asked for Cora, not Silas. They stood in the shade by the water trough. The woman did not waste time. She said she had helped bring half the children in that town into the world. She said she remembered Cora. Then she said one thing that made the ground feel unsteady. It wasn't you. It never was, she told her. She did not say Caleb's name, but she did not have to. No long explanation. Just that. Cora felt something break loose in her chest, like it had been held too long. All those nights, all those bruises, all those words telling her she was less. And now, maybe it had never been her fault. She did not cry, not yet, but her hands would not stay still. From the porch, Silas watched, saying nothing. He did not step in. He let her have that moment, but he had his own trouble coming. 'Cause down in town, Arthur Miller was already hearing about the street, the punch, and the way people had gone quiet after. And men like Arthur did not lose control without pushing back. That evening, Silas checked his horses twice, loaded his rifle without making a show of it. And when the sun dropped low, the road out past the dry creek went too quiet, like something was waiting. The kind of quiet that only shows up right before a man finds out how far someone else is willing to go. And this time, it wasn't just Cora they were coming for. The road past the dry creek did not stay quiet for long. They came just before dark, 3 riders first, then 2 more behind, spreading out like they had done this before. Silas saw it coming. He stepped out from the porch, rifle already in hand, not rushed, not afraid. Cora stood in the doorway, heart pounding, but she did not hide. Not this time. One of the men fired wide, just to scare. Another pushed forward, trying to circle. Silas answered with one clean shot into the dirt near their lead horse. One of them fired back, close enough to kick dust by his boots. Silas was not shooting to kill. He was warning them off. But Caleb rode in behind them, louder than the rest, desperate, angry, trying to prove something he never had. He shouted her name like he still owned it. Cora stepped forward, not far, just enough. And for the first time, she answered him without fear. "You lost that right," she said. Her voice did not shake. That was the moment things broke. The men saw it. This was not a girl they could drag anymore. This was not a man they could push. Arthur was not there, but his shadow was, and his plan had failed. One by one, they pulled back. No hero speech, no final shot, just men realizing they had stepped into the wrong yard. Dust rose again. Then they were gone. The ranch fell quiet, real quiet this time. Silas lowered his rifle. He did not look at Cora right away. He just said, "You can go if you want." That was the truth he had held from the start. No chains, no debt, no hidden cost. Cora looked out at the open land, then back at the man who never once treated her like something to take. "I know," she said, and when she looked at him, it was no longer like a frightened woman measuring danger. It was the look of someone seeing, maybe for the first time, that decency in a man was not dead after all. And she stayed, not because she had nowhere else, but because for the first time, she had somewhere she chose. Sometimes, life does not change with a big moment. Sometimes it changes when one person refuses to be like everyone else. Silas did not save her by force. He gave her back her choice. And that is something a lot of people never get. I have to say this. This story is gathered and retold to bring out the feeling, the lesson, and the human truth inside it. The visuals are created with AI to help the story land more clearly. The title and thumbnail are there to carry that feeling a little more clearly. If this story stayed with you, let me know in the comments. And I read them. I pay attention to the ones that matter, and I bring back more stories worth your time. From where I sit, I have seen men with strength fail, and men with quiet resolve change everything. The difference is not power. It is what you choose to do when no one forces you. So I will ask you this. When you see someone being pushed down, do you walk past or do you stand there like Silas did? When life gives you a way out, do you run or do you choose where you belong? If this meant something to you, take a second to like the video and subscribe. It helps keep stories like this alive. And before you go, tell me something simple. What time is it where you are, and where are you listening from? I will be right here waiting to read it.
Some stories entertain you, but some stories stay with you. If this one made you feel something, that's not by accident.